Picture this, Boston, 1770, the streets are crawling with soldiers. They're not there to protect you, they're there to enforce rules that you never voted on. But they're underpaid, so they take side jobs and push locals out of work. Every day they remind you, you're not free, you're controlled. And on the evening of March 5th, that tension boiled over. It started small. A soldier was accused of not paying for his haircut. Petty? Maybe. But to angry Bostonians, it was the last straw. Here was a soldier, a job stealer, a tax enforcer, an outsider, stiffing a working man for his labor. Crowds gathered. They shoved him, jeered at him. Soldiers rushed in, not to listen or solve, but to police. The crowd swelled to the hundreds. Sailors, rope makers, dock workers. They threw snowballs and then ice, sticks, oyster shells. At the front was Crispus Attucks, a sailor, a dock worker, a man of African and native descent, a man who knew what it meant to live on the outside of the circles of power. And that night he stood shoulder to shoulder with his community, making their anger known. And then, chaos. A musket fired. Nobody knows if it was on purpose or by accident, but the line of soldiers panicked and fired into the crowd. Crispus Attucks fell first. He was shot twice in the chest. Two more, Samuel Gray and James Caldwell, died instantly. Later, two others would die of their wounds. 5 lives lost. The Boston Massacre. But here's where the story bends. A silversmith named Paul Revere took a sketch of the scene and turned it into an engraving. An engraving is like a metal stamp that you can stamp papers with over and over, but he changed it. In Revere's engraving, the soldiers weren't panicked. They were lined up in perfect formation, deliberately firing into a respectable, defenseless crowd. The snowballs, the oyster shells, the chaos, gone. Crispus Attucks, erased. The black and native man who fell first wasn't in the picture. Everyone in the image was white. Why? Because Paul Revere had an agenda. He wanted a clean narrative. Innocent colonists and guilty soldiers. Showing a crowd of working men led by a man of color didn't fit the propaganda he needed to spread. That engraving flew through the colonies. It stoked outrage. It helped fuel a revolution. But it was propaganda, not a lie, just a tilted truth, sharpened into a weapon. And that's the lesson. Propaganda doesn't have to invent a story. It only has to bend the truth until you stop asking questions. We live surrounded by it today. Memes, headlines, posts designed to make you angry or afraid or turn you against your neighbor. So the next time something online makes your blood boil, pause, ask, who benefits from me looking that way instead of that way? Crispus Attucks reminds us that what happens on the street and what we're shown later can be two very different things.